Did you know that both North Korea and China support the two-state solution and think that the US's attitude towards Gaza right now, Trump's attitude towards Gaza right now is kind of unhinged? Hi, my name is Cassandra, and I've been talking the last few days about the American need to find news in other sources because things are not getting discussed or not getting discussed fully in American media right now. And this is what I stumbled across today. In this post from Al Jazeera, it talks about how North Korea has called for the U.S. to stop encroaching upon the dignity and sovereignty of the Palestinian people. They're calling it slaughter and robbery. The article goes on to refer to a statement from the KCNA, the Korean Central News Agency, saying, quote, the U.S. should awaken from its anachronistic daydream and stop at once the act of encroaching upon the dignity and sovereignty of other countries and nations. It's not an issue limited to the Gaza Strip only. It goes on to say North Korea has been an outspoken critic of the situation in Gaza, condemning Israel for its ruthless massacre of Palestinians and calling the U.S. an accomplice to its crimes. Now, when you do a Google search for North Korea and Gaza, the list of news results only has two American titles on the first page. This article from USA Today and this article from Bloomberg. While these are both established and I think fairly reputable news sources here in the US, neither one of them is on the top of the list of places that people get their news from. This made me really curious about what other countries have been saying about Gaza. And so if you look up China and Gaza and you scroll down, none of those news outlets are United States news outlets. So these discussions are being had outside of the US, but not inside of the US. China is supporting Gaza. I feel like most Americans would be surprised to hear this because we've always had, or at least in recent years, had China. China has been friendlier, but we've always seen China and North Korea as kind of like bad guys with bad reputations. And that I'm going to tell you not only from the little bit of research I did today, but from the experience I had living in Asia, in Mongolia, right in between Russia, China, and adjacent to Korea. That's just not the case. And since I mentioned Russia, let me show you this article. Reuters was reporting on February 5th that Russia was standing firm on the two-state solution and believed that the Palestinian state was something that needed to happen. But I did catch this headline from Haaretz. I'm sure I said that wrong and I really apologize. It's joint reporting from Reuters, and it says that as of the 10th, Russia's Kremlin is waiting for details on Trump's Gaza proposal to see if there's some sort of coherent plan of action. Now, I don't know a whole lot about global politics. I know headlines and I know what feels right and what feels wrong. But what I do know something about is finding sources of information and then figuring out if those are reliable sources of information, and like seeing things that trigger the need for further research and further discovery. So that's what I'm going to try to share with you when I take these opportunities to do so. Now, since Haaretz is Israeli media, I, again, don't know how much bias went into that article, but I didn't see it mentioned anywhere else, and so I thought it was worth mentioning. I hope somebody will dig into that and see what's going on. Maybe that's Russia trying to play nice with the U.S. because we were just nice to him, according to headlines I saw and videos I heard right before I started recording this. And if you make it this far, I will share with you one little fun fact. Just now, having my face on the screen next to Putin, you would think that's the closest I've ever been to him. And it's actually not, because when I was in Mongolia teaching, he came to Ulaanbaatar to visit the Mongolian president, and the president was at his home, one of his homes on the other side of the mountain from the school where I taught, and we actually got a whole day out of school because of traffic. Yeah. I got a day out of school because of Vladimir Putin. Weird.